Electra demands Ivy's Australia exit, disowns aunt after letter theft revealed. The bold and the beautiful spoilers allude that Electra Forrester and Ivy Forrester's strong bond will suffer a delicate blow. Ivy just crossed the line in a big way, so it's only a matter of time until she pays the price for that. It was bad enough when Ivy poked her nose where it didn't belong at the Sandhouse. Ivy pipped in on Will Spencer and Melissa Dillon before ordering Dillon to leave city. When that plan didn't work out as well as Ivy hoped, she told Electra what she witnessed. Of course, Ivy made it feel like Dillon and Will were running around behind Electra's back when that's not really how it went down. Now Ivy is resorting to indeed further manipulation since she stole the letter Electra wrote for Will. Electra was induced that letter would make all the difference and move Will to protest Dillon out, so Ivy decided to swipe it and sabotage effects. Ivy's dirty tricks will continue in the coming occurrences. So what happens once her plot's exposed? Daphne Rose could clearly play a part in how that happens after witnessing Ivy's shady jest. Anyhow, Electra's going to be furious when she realizes Ivy's trying to control her life. Ivy thinks she's looking out for Electra, but she has no right to go to similar axes and intrude in Electra's connections. Ivy's manipulative moves will push Electra closer to RJ Forrester, while Will leans on Dillon for comfort. In other words, Ivy will be the reason new couples start to form. So she's timber life-changing opinions for all parties involved. Once Ivy's plan comes to light, B&B spoilers suggest Electra may rip into her with everything she's got. This could beget a major rift between this aunt and her bastard, so Electra may go as far as pushing Ivy to leave Los Angeles. Electra might declare that she can't work on this jewelry line with Ivy presently, at least not in person at the Forrester office in LA. Maybe Electra will demand Ivy take a return trip to Australia and disown Ivy for everything she's done to blow up her world. Since Ashley Brewer is pregnant in real life and will need to take motherliness leave down the road, perhaps Ivy will indeed end up heading back to Australia while Electra cools off. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say terrible news is brewing for Ivy and Electra's bond no matter what, so don't miss what's in store. On a stormy autumn in Los Angeles, the fragile peace inside the Forrester manse begins to crack as secrets swirl around the glamorous, yet emotionally unpredictable world of the bold and the beautiful. What started as a deceived attempt at protection snappily spirals into treason, heartache, and a family fracture that may no way completely heal. At the center of the chaos stands Electra Forrester, proud, passionate, and determined to control her own fortune, only to discover that the person she trusted most, her Aunt Ivy Forrester, has been orchestrating events behind her reverse. The disclosure hits like a tidal surge. Electra had poured her heart into a letter meant for Will Spencer, believing her precisely chosen words would eventually make him see the verity about Melissa Dillon and put an end to the growing wedge between them. That letter wasn't just essay on paper. It was vulnerability, stopgap, and a last attempt to regain love. But Ivy, induced she knew better, interdicted it. She didn't simply hide it. She stole it, read it, and designedly sabotaged its delivery. When Daphne Rose accidentally substantiations Ivy slipping the envelope into her bag at the Sandhouse, a seed of dubitation is planted. Daphne, formerly cautious of Ivy's decreasingly controlling jest, pieces together the mystification and eventually confronts Electra with pulsing honesty. At first, Electra refuses to believe it. Ivy has always been her confidant, her creative mate in the jewelry line at Forrester Creations, her steady companion in a world of manipulation and glamour. But the substantiation is inarguable. The missing letter. Ivy's nervous diversions. The way she had exaggerated what she saw between Will and Dillon at the beach house, making it feel like a romantic treason rather of an inoffensive misreading. The verity shatters Electra's trust. In a fiery battle at the Forrester office, girdled by sketches and diamonds that suddenly feel pointless, Electra demands answers. Ivy insists she acted out of love, claiming Dillon is dangerous, that Will is naive, that Electra's future must be defended at all costs. But protection has crossed into possession. Electra's voice trembles as she realizes Ivy has been trying to control her life, her career, and her heart. The argument escalates, drawing the attention of RJ Forrester, who watches in stupefied silence as aunt and bastard buckle. Electra's pain turns to fury. She accuses Ivy of manipulating her feelings, of planting dubieties about Will, of weaponizing family fidelity. Ivy fires back, advising that Electra is eyeless to the schemes around her. But the further Ivy justifies herself, the deeper she digs the crack. Electra declares she can no longer work side by side with someone who violates her sequestration and autonomy. In a shocking claim, she tells Ivy to leave Los Angeles and return to Australia, at least until she learns to admire boundaries. The demand reverberates through the family like an earthquake. Ridge and Brooke are stupefied. RJ still supports Electra, seeing how much this treason has broken her. Meanwhile, Will Spencer, hurt by Electra's before dispassionateness, begins leaning on Dylan for comfort, creating the veritably romantic shift Ivy stressed. Ironically, Ivy's hindrance accelerates the unraveling of the relationship she tried to save. As Electra distances herself from Will in her emotional fermentation, she finds unanticipated solace in RJ, whose calm empathy becomes a adder to her wounded heart. Long nights at the design plant turn into deep exchanges, participated horse laugh, and a slow-burning connection neither anticipated. Ivy, watching her worst fears materialize, realizes too late that her meddling has pushed everyone further piecemeal. The jewelry line they erected together now hangs in the balance, its launch overshadowed by reproach. In private moments, Ivy wrestles with guilt but remains stubborn, convinced time will prove her right. Yet when Electra intimately announces that Ivy will be stepping down from the company and returning to Australia, the futurity in her tone leaves no room for conciliation. The Forrester family is divided. Some sympathize with Ivy's defensive instincts. Others condemn her manipulation. Daphne, burdened by her part in exposing the verity, prodigies if she did the right thing. As Ivy packs her things, she shares a tearful farewell with Electra, but the clinch they formerly participated so fluently is replaced by stiff distance. Electra's eyes coruscate, not with remorse, but with the painful clarity of someone who has chosen tone respect over eyeless fidelity. The field farewell is bittersweet, heavy with implied justifications. Ivy promises she only wanted to shield her bastard from heartache. Electra responds that heartache is hers to witness, not Ivy's to help. Back in Los Angeles, the fallout continues. Will confronts Electra about the letter, and when she confesses it was stolen, his frustration shifts from wrathfulness to understanding. Still, too important damage has been done. Dylan's presence grows stronger in his life, while RJ becomes Electra's emotional anchor. The megacity buzzes with gossip about the Forrester feud, and the jewelry line must move forward without Ivy's creative touch. Electra channels her pain into bold new designs, each piece emblematizing independence and adaptability. Meanwhile, in Australia, Ivy grapples with insulation and reflection, questioning whether love can ever justify dishonesty. The separation may be temporary, but the scar remains. As occurrences unfold, observers watch an important disquisition of autonomy, family boundaries, and unintended consequences. Electra's trip transforms her from a sheltered protégé into a woman who demands respect. Ivy's exile becomes both discipline and occasion for growth. And in classic cleaner fashion, the romantic geography shifts dramatically. New couples form, alliances change, and the emotional chessboard resets. Through it all, the heritage of the bold and the beautiful continues to thrive on high-stakes drama and deeply particular conflicts, proving formerly again that in Los Angeles, love and treason frequently sparkle brighter than the finest diamonds. As the emotional foreshocks of Ivy's exposure continue to ripple through Los Angeles, life inside the Forrester macrocosm becomes a precisely balanced tightrope between damage control and deep particular reckoning. In the days following the explosive battle at Forrester Creations, the atmosphere in the design office is palpably tense. Sidekicks brute. Models break mid-fitting when Electra walks through the door. Everyone feels the absence of Ivy's bright presence, yet no bone dares to speak her name too loudly. The reproach girding the stolen letter has come the quiet center of the fashion house, and although the public doesn't yet know the full verity, those inside the inner circle understand that a line was crossed that cannot fluently be cancelled. Electra throws herself into work with grim determination. Every rock she selects, every sketch she revises, carries an turnabout of defiance. However, Electra intends to prove else, if Ivy believed she was unable of steering her own future. Long gloamings find her alone in the design plant, the megacity lights glowing through the massive windows. She studies drafts for the forthcoming jewelry collection launch, altering motifs to reflect a new theme, revitalization. Gone are the soft, simple heart patterns Ivy formerly favored. In their place are bold lines, phoenix imagery, and intricate settings that emblematize strength rising from honey. It's not subtle. The collection becomes a silent protestation of independence. Meanwhile, R.J. Forrester grows decreasingly defensive. Having witnessed the desolation Ivy's manipulation caused, he keeps a vigilant eye on Electra, not in a jealous way, but with quiet fidelity. He brings her coffee during marathon design sessions, listens when prostration loosens her guard, and gently reminds her that treason doesn't define her worth. Their connection deepens organically, erected not on drama but on participated vulnerability. Late one evening, as rain stripes against the windows, Electra confesses how foolish she feels for trusting Ivy so fully. RJ doesn't dismiss her passions. Rather, he tells her that trust is no way foolish, it's valorous. The words settle into her heart. Across city, Will Spencer wrestles with his own fermentation. Learning about the stolen letter shifts his perspective dramatically. At first, he believed Electra's unforeseen dispassionateness stemmed from instability or dubitation. Now he realizes a third party orchestrated much of the misreading. Yet the damage lingers. Pride and hurt are stubborn companions. He finds himself spending further time with Dylan, whose calm address provides a sense of stability. What began as fellowship sluggishly edges toward commodity more intimate. They partake candid exchanges about feeling misgauged and manipulated by others' prospects. In a twist of irony, Ivy's attempt to cover Electra by segregating Dylan only strengthens the bond between Dylan and Will. Daphne Rose, meanwhile, grapples with complicated guilt. Though she exposed Ivy's theft out of moral obligation, she hadn't anticipated the scale of destruction it would unleash. Watching Electra ramify ties with her aunt leaves Daphne disaccorded. She tries to assure Electra that verity, still painful, is always better than vision. Yet she wonders intimately whether some secrets are kinder left undiscovered. When she runs into Ivy at a small cafe before Ivy's departure flight, their exchange is fraught. Ivy accuses Daphne of poking. Daphne counters that integrity demanded honesty. The battle is restrained but slice, a final memorial that no bone in this story escapes without scars. As the weeks progress, family gatherings come minefields. Ridge attempts to maintain impartiality, fading both Ivy's deceived love and Electra's justified wrathfulness. Brooke offers Electra stimulant, praising her strength while warning against letting bitterness harden her heart. The generational peak is apparent. Aged family members understand the instinct to cover at all costs, while youngish voices support autonomy. The pressure underscores a dateless conflict within families. When does guidance come control? Back in Australia, Ivy confronts solitariness for the first time in times. Removed from the immediate chaos of Los Angeles, she begins to see her conduct with painful clarity. Her apartment overlooking the Sydney harbor feels extensive yet segregating. Without diurnal propinquity to Electra, she recognizes how important of her identity revolved around being necessary. Remedy sessions, originally attended reluctantly, force Ivy to unload deeper precariousness. She admits that watching Electra grow independent touched off fears of abandonment. The stolen letter wasn't simply about Dylan or Will. It was about losing applicability. This consummation humbles her. In Los Angeles, the jewelry launch approaches. The collection, now renamed Rejuvenescence, garners significant buzz. Fashion bloggers presume about the creative shift. Assiduity interposers brood about before-the-scenes drama. Electra chooses translucency without oversharing. During interviews, she speaks about creative elaboration and particular growth, precisely avoiding public commendation of Ivy. Her restraint surprises numerous. Rather than exploiting the reproach, she channels concentrate toward art. The runway show becomes a defining moment. As models glide down the catwalk adorned in Electra's bold new designs, applause fills the venue. RJ watches from confidentially, pride apparent. When Electra steps out for the final arc, there's a subtle earthquake in her hands, but her head remains high. Yet success doesn't abolish heartache. Latterly that evening, alone in her extension, Electra scrolls through old prints of her and Ivy, laughing at sand shoots celebrating mileposts. Grief mingles with wrathfulness. Cutting someone off, indeed justifiably, creates emptiness. She drafts a communication to Ivy more than formerly, only to cancel it. Pride is an important hedge. Will and Dylan's closeness becomes more visible, fueling gossip columns. Electra insists she's unbothered, but moments of vulnerability betray moping attachment. One autumn, she runs into them at Il Giardino. The hassle is polite but simulated. Eyes meet. Words falter. Dylan thanks Electra for clarifying the misreading. Will nods, an implied acknowledgement of participated history. The air crackles with undetermined emotion. RJ senses the pressure and gently attends Electra down, reminding her that mending requires distance. Months pass. Seasons shift. The intensity of the reproach softens into a dull pang. Suddenly, Ivy requests a videotape call. Electra hesitates before accepting. When Ivy appears on screen, she looks changed, less protective, more reflective. She apologizes without defenses. No apologies. No blame shifting. The simplicity of her guilt catches Electra off guard. For the first time, Ivy admits she was wrong not because her plan failed, but because it violated trust. Gashes flow on both sides of the screen. Remission isn't immediate, but the door cracks open. This fragile conciliation coincides with a turning point in Electra's romantic life. RJ confesses his passions completely, not as an answer from drama, but as a genuine connection cultivated over time. Electra, apprehensive of her moping complications, asks for tolerance. He agrees. Their relationship unfolds gradationally. Participated art shows, robotic sand passages, quiet feasts devoid of spectacle. It's a discrepancy to the volatility she endured ahead. Stability feels strange yet comforting. Meanwhile, Will faces a crossroads. His bond with Dylan intensifies, yet he can't ignore undetermined feelings toward Electra. In a candid discussion, Dylan challenges him to defy what he truly wants rather than replying to circumstance. This maturity underscores how important the characters have grown since Ivy's hindrance sparked chaos. The narrative shifts from arch-conservative drama to introspective choice. Back in Sydney, Ivy receives an occasion to expand the jewelry brand internationally. She contemplates inviting Electra to unite ever. The offer symbolizes an implicit reconditioning, not of reliance, but cooperation predicated in respect. When she presents the idea during another videotape call, Electra considers precisely. Distance, she realizes, has clarified boundaries. Working together from separate mainlands might save creativity without reigniting control. The overarching metamorphosis within this saga lies not in vengeance or exile but in elaboration. Electra's fury formerly demanded Ivy's departure. Now maturity allows measured reconnection. Ivy's exile, originally framed as discipline, becomes a catalyst for tone mindfulness. Will and Dylan navigate authenticity free from external manipulation. RJ's steady presence proves that love embedded in tolerance outlasts drama fueled by fear. In classic fashion, the world of the bold and the beautiful continues to weave love, treason, ambition, and redemption into an ever-expanding shade. The stolen letter, formerly a simple piece of paper, served as a spark that burned buried precariousness and implied trueness. From that spark surfaced broken bonds, unanticipated couples, particular awakenings, and creative reinvention. No character remains unchanged. Electra stands at her deck months latterly, overlooking the Los Angeles skyline, reflecting on the trip. The megacity hums below, indifferent yet constant. She understands now that independence isn't the absence of love, but the presence of choice. Ivy, thousands of long halls down, gazes at a daylight over Sydney Harbor, carrying analogous reflections. Both women have endured pain. Both have grown. The future remains verbal. Reunions may be. Connections may shift again. Secrets inescapably lurk around new corners. But one verity resonates easily: autonomy and responsibility are stronger than manipulation disguised as protection. And within the spangling, emotionally charged macrocosm of the bold and the beautiful, that assignment sparkles brighter than any diamond ever set in gold.